All right, I'd like to call the public hearing for the rezoning request of 1031 St. Pius Drive, Monday, January 23rd, 2023, at 6 p.m. to order. I'll take roll call of the council. Councilperson Bradley? Councilperson Kemfer? Councilperson Ginever? Councilperson Becker?
I'm here.
Councilperson Fisher? Councilperson Schoenberg? Councilperson Picarella? Councilperson Massa? At this time, I'll turn the floor over to Mr. Robert Sullivan.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor and City Council. Before you tonight, we have a request for a rezoning, planning and zoning case 11833. The request for this rezoning is to rezone two parcels, both collectively located at an address of 1031 St. Pius Drive. The current zoning at that location is C2, and if we look at the map up on the screen, and you also have this in your packet, the blue areas there are the two parcels that are identified. Properties both to the north and south are also C2 currently zoned. The request is to change the zoning to M1, which is light industrial. Pretty much all the property on the right-hand side or the east side is all zoned currently M1. So it, when you take out the street, it's collectively would be approved for rezoning without any issues. We had a public meeting, Planning and Zoning, on December 8th of 2022, and Planning and Zoning reviewed this and passed this request on to you to have a public hearing on it and request for your council to hear it. If there's any questions on this, the request for the rezoning is needed. They're doing a ball field and also a billboard sign. It's kind of hard to see on that drawing, but on the upper left-hand corner of that blue piece up right at the corner on St. Pius Spur, you can see a little black area. That is a current sign that's there that could be classified as a billboard. Our classification for billboard is what's off-premise signage. So if there's any sign, anything related to off-premise, meaning not advertising what's taking place on that property, it is only allowed by our zoning ordinance in the M1 district. So that is the main reason to rezone that, is to allow for that sign. Both St. Pius will use the sign, obviously, for their needs, but then advertise other things going on in the area. Just to give you an example, they could put on that Culver's is coming soon to advertise things going on here in our community. If anyone has any questions for me about that, I'll be more than welcome to take those. Here tonight is Mr. James Lane, and he is with St. Pius. And then Terry, and sorry Terry, I don't have your last name. Terry Green with Robinson Outdoors, who has the sign company. So they're here to answer any of your questions about what they're going to do with the property. As far as that, if you got any questions for me, I'll be more than happy to take them.
Robert, in your opinion, is it necessary to rezone that property to allow the billboard? I know you were looking into the sign ordinances and exactly what is and isn't there.
Correct. If we don't have an exact definition for what a billboard is, but billboards are only allowed in that zoning for an M1. So I'm using the state's definition for what a billboard is, and it's considered any off-premise advertising, since it does abut the boulevard there that they would control. So if it's going to do any off-premise advertising, which it will be, correct? So we have to classify that as a billboard, therefore we have to change the zoning ordinance.
Gotcha.
And it matches everything surrounding it, basically, on Pius's ground, correct? Just to verify that.
That is correct.
So the hospital, the St. Pius property itself, a lot of other things in that area are already zoned M1.
That is correct.
And this was recommended by Planning and Zoning for approval, is that?
Yes, sir. Yep, on their meeting on December 8th of last year.
I believe it was unanimous.
Yes.
So
I was there, I'm just getting it on the record.
Yes, it was
I was
unanimous.
too.
Yeah, it was a unanimous recommendation.
Right, I was there. All right. Council, any questions for?
I don't have anything.
Audience? None? All right. At this.
Before you do that, I do have a question. Will Pius own the property? Yes. Okay. I just didn't know about that. issue was with the Downs or what the previous issue, well, anyway, it's not, but you'll own it in the end, and then you'll have a sign on it, basically. Okay. Yeah.
Just to get on, no, you're fine. Changing over to a ball field, we have less than a year span.
As soon as we take ownership, within less than a year. I mean, I've got a couple folks lined up, we're gonna start moving dirt.
Excellent. I just like to see progress moving on this stuff, so appreciate it.
And the purpose for that is today our baseball field is actually in the same spot as our soccer field. So once we can move that baseball field over there, then we'll have baseball and softball in it. And some of you might know this, you might not. I'm pretty liberal with the way we open up our campus for folks who wanna use our field for things. I mean, we got a lot of, CYC folks using our property, they're coming in our gym, they're using the softball field looks great for little kids, but we've had several people come down to our community just to use that. So, it's not, I wanna grow the campus of St. Pius, I wanna show that we really care about this community, so.
Excellent.
It's gonna help keep it. So,
Well, thank you.
That's a long-winded answer, but that's
It's all right. Hey, I know. That's okay. We'll make sure it's in there. We'll make sure. All right, if no one has any further questions, all right, at this time with no more discussion, the public hearing for the community development block grant is closed. Oh, I'm sorry, for the rezoning request is closed. Thank you. All right. I want to call the regular council meeting for January 23rd, 2023 to order. Everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilperson Becker. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call. Councilperson Bradley? Councilperson Kemper? Councilperson Ginever? Councilperson Becker?
Still here, Your Honor.
Councilperson Fisher? Councilperson Schaumburg? Councilperson Picarello? Councilperson Massa? All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda for the council meeting, January 23rd, 2023.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, has the agenda been posted, dated, and signed? All right. If you look, there's some amended minutes there. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes with changes of December 19th.
I'll move to approve the minutes as revised, but do we have copies for anybody in the audience that might not have them? If I could just read out the change.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was a change under the mayor's report. I don't know what it said originally, but now what it says is, wall at the cemetery. The city will build the wall and Mr. Gray can pay for the grass to be put down. We will need Brandon to write up an agreement with Mr. Gray. That's the change. And then there's a motion and a second, I think.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Public comment. Mr. Greg Rex, you may approach the floor, sir. Floor is yours.
Thank you. I just want to come and thank the city, Mr. Turner, Mr. Eisenbach, Mayor, for the sidewalk work you did in late fall regarding some trees and a wall for our terrace. There's a little questioning. Got to resolve with Mr. Eisenbach and Mr. Turner and yourself. I just want to say thank you, and we are happy.
Perfect.
That's it.
Thank you for showing up.
Thank you. Man, we should get more people to come in.
I know, right? I know. I like those public comments there. What it was is, the sidewalk going there, his front of his yard has a little hillside, and, the little stop curb basically was missed on plans. Mr. Turner, Eisenbach had that handled in maybe 15 minutes. It was, done, and they were out there, and it was a little more involved. They had to move a gas line and stuff, but it was handled and it was done, so we like that. All right. On to check register, bills, financial report, and sales tax report. It should be in your packet. Mr. Becker, do you have anything to add on that?
I do not. I'll make a motion to approve the check register and bills and the sales tax reports.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on those? Don't think. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. The committee reports are in your packet. Department heads are here if you guys have any questions for any of them. But other than that, they're pretty self-explanatory in there. The, street department doing pretty good on stuff. Fire department did well. Police always. I mean, all of our committees, they're doing great, so. If you have any questions, if you notice in some of those packets, there is a little self-explaining down at the bottom of them. That's kinda new. So, department heads have done a great job on that, so.
Mayor, if I make just one comment on the water committee report, just because you and I both made the same comment to Mr. Log. There were a number of water main breaks over the last month or so in the cold, and thanks to your department's good work, they did not become showstoppers that kind of blew up on Facebook and made the city look bad, so I appreciate all everybody's hard work out in the cold, and thank you.
Yeah, to add on, our city departments are working really, really well together. Our street guys are helping out the water, I mean, it's a team effort, like everybody kinda knows, but it's nice to just be brought up sometimes, so I appreciate everybody there. Council liaison reports, Councilperson Fisher for Library School Board.
I have nothing new to report.
The park is, Ms. Schaumburg's gone, but it's kinda shut down, everything's kinda in winter mode there. Councilperson Pigarella for Sewage Commission.
I don't have anything this time.
Mr. Becker, Planning and Zoning.
Mr. Sullivan, do you know if we're gonna have a meeting in February? Do we have any items on the agenda?
We will have a meeting in February.
Okay, so that meeting will be the third Thursday, or did we move it to the second Thursday?
I believe they're second.
Second Thursday should be February 9th at 6:30 PM in this room.
Okay, thank you. And Levy Commission, Councilperson Kempfer.
I don't have any.
Thank you, sir. All right. Does anyone, going on to public response, does anyone have anything they'd like to discuss from the last previous council meeting? All right. If not, we'll move on to old business. Let me double check. You guys have the MTM report? You guys have any questions on that? It's pretty detailed. I mean, it does pretty well. I like their ideas. A lot of it is developers. I mean, the city can do some of this stuff, but most of it, from what I see. Attorney, you have anything to add? You kinda headed that up, the MTM report, or?
It's just developers. I mean, the only thing that I think we should jump on and get ahead of the game, once things get built out, is do some wayfinding. I think that'll help out a lot, especially down for our park area, and then just coming off Bay the Road, turning on, you'll turn on Bay the Road, and then, okay, where's City Hall, stuff like that. But I think the city should look into doing some wayfinding. This is kinda what we got out. That we can start now, and it's not gonna cost several $1 million.
Right, just get some signage to let everybody know where they're at and what's going on.
There's a few items in there that I thought would be good to lay some groundwork for, even if it's gonna require a private developer to actually do it. Some of them, for instance, would require some changes to zoning and setbacks and things like that. Jason, I thought we were gonna push this to a work session meeting sometime.
We can, Jack wanted to talk about it, but put it on the agenda and Jack's not.
Well, my recommendation would be to table that discussion to a time when Jack is here and our attorneys aren't waiting out in the audience costing us a bunch of money.
Yeah, and you'll probably see an article in this week's Leader that Greg and I sat down with the Leader paper last week and talked through some of the ideas that we had that we could do, such as wayfinding, branding, when MoDOT does, the overlay of, Truman, we can look into some of the intersections. Same as we get the grant for Bailey Road, we can look at some of the parking that he recommended. So it's kind of a working document, like our comprehensive plan. We can work through some things we can do internally and some things we can't.
Hopefully it'll work a little bit better than our comprehensive plan.
Roadmap.
That's right. All right. We will, when we have our work session, we'll discuss this more in depth. Moving on to new business, we have none. Takes us on to ordinances and resolutions. motion to read Bill 1889-2023 on its first reading by title only.
So moved.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, can I have the first reading of Bill 1889-2023 by title only, please?
Bill number 1889-2023 on its first reading by title only, an ordinance of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, rezoning certain tracts of land located within the city limits of the City of Crystal City, Missouri.
I'll move to approve Bill 1889-2023 on its first reading by title only.
I'll second.
All right, a motion's been made and seconded to accept Bill 1889-2023 on its first reading by title only. Any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
I'll move to read Bill 1889-2023 on its second reading by title only.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, can I have the second and final reading of Bill 1889-2023 by title only, please?
Bill number 1889-2023 on its second and final reading by title only, an ordinance of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, rezoning certain tracts of land located within the city limits of the City of Crystal City, Missouri.
And I'll move to approve Bill 1889-2023 on its second and final reading.
I'll second.
All right, a motion's been made and seconded to approve Bill 1889-2023 on its second and final reading by title only. Any discussion further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I'll poll the council. Councilperson Bradley? Councilperson Becker?
Yes, sir.
Councilperson, Picarella?
Yes.
Councilperson Massa? Councilperson Fisher?
Yes.
All right. Let me move on to Bill number 1889-2023 now becomes ordinance 1889-2023. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? All right, now we move on to our resolution. We have a resolution of the City of Crystal City, Missouri stating intent to seek funding through the Community Development Block Grant Program and authorizing the Mayor, Mike Oshie, to pursue activities in an attempt to secure funding. I don't have to have a roll call vote, it's just I'll entertain a motion.
I thought we discussed this back in November, didn't we?
There's a litany of paperwork that has to go with what you guys approved to do in December, actually, I think Dave was here. So this is just follow through resolution.
Okay.
This is our resolution from our presentation of the December meeting with the sidewalk, the ADA grant program. All right, so
I'll move to approve resolution number 1-2023.
I'll second.
all right. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Okay.
City Administrator report is in your packet. I believe we need a motion to approve a transfer of funds for the water of the park.
Yeah, this is something that we have historically done every year for the last several years at least. The Stormwater and Parks tax generates a fund that can be used for either stormwater prevention or control or parks. Since the pool is part of the parks, we have always paid the water bill for the pool out of these funds, so it doesn't take away from the other funds that are generated by a property tax to run the parks. So I will make a motion to transfer $16,203.53 from the Stormwater and Parks Fund to cover the Parks Board's water usage.
I will second that.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Oh, any discussion on that? I'm sorry.
Do we know, was that down from the previous year? Didn't they have problems?
It's
It was
up from the
up
previous.
year. Yeah, I was gonna ask, why is it up?
Yeah.
They had a water leak at the splash pad, to my knowledge. So the splash pad and the pool run on different systems, and the splash pad has like an autofill. There's a tank in the ground, and they had a leak, so they were constantly having to refill that about every 2 days for the splash pad. So before they open it this year, they're going to scope it with a camera and everything and try to find that
I think they had a leak about 4 or 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, that was really up there.
Really,
Yeah.
that's one I was thinking.
Yeah, I think that was in the pool itself, or one of the lines going.
Yeah, I was on the
They
park
fixed
board.
that.
Yeah, I was on the park board on that, and it should run about $9,000 basically, but it's almost double to the 16, but. Is that all on that? Any more discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moves us to the mayor report. We had the, MLK March. That went very well. There was a good turnout, had a lot of people, Crystal City and our community walk over. That went very well. And that brings me to the cultural diversity luncheon. There's a luncheon on the February 25th. The city historically buys a table.
Mhm.
Is that correct? So I didn't know if any councilmen or any people part of the city would like to show up.
Typically, it's been a kind of a coalition of the Wilden, what is it, a table of 8 or 10 or something like that?
Yeah, I've gone before in the past, so
Yeah.
it usually asks, or if anybody wants to go, go
Okay.
to Jason.
I'd love to
Alright.
go, it's a good event, but I'm gonna be out of town that weekend.
They have a good event. If we don't have enough people to make a table, we're still going to be a sponsorship of that. It's a great program. They have a wonderful speaker this year from the Capitol Police that was part of the January 6th committee, and she got inducted into the Festus Hall of Fame recently. It's supposed to be an absolute great speaker, so if anybody...
If there's a seat available, I'd love to go.
Okay.
If not, that's okay.
No, there will, I mean, we're gonna purchase a table or make a donation to them, either way, so.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll get with Jason and go from there. Trees on Parkview, you'll see that in Mr. Turner's report of, the trees being removed. I walked around the subdivision there, and I did have one resident that voiced concern about removing the Bradford pears. They're an invasive species per the conservation. We're still moving forward and cutting them down. I had several people email me saying, hey, good job. It's being proactive on this situation. And, so we're still moving forward, and we're going to replace them with pin oaks that have a life expectancy of 150 to 200 years instead of 30. So no one here should have to worry about that. No, you're selling yourself short.
There's a number of other Bradford pears in town that are not on city property. Are we doing anything to reach out to people to encourage them to do something about that?
I have not.
I haven't either, but,
They're on the church.
The only letter I got was from DNR, was just any city-owned
okay.
trees. I can go out on private property.
Most,
I'm not a fan of them because they're flimsy and they like to fall over on things.
Yeah, we've cleaned it up many times, but maybe just the past 10 years, just clean up the Parkview.
Yeah.
no, I appreciate it, and thank you. Yeah. That's all I had. Round table, Councilperson Bradley? Councilperson Kemper? Councilperson Becker?
One thing back on, Mr. Turner's report, you didn't get too much opposition from, reaching out to the people on Taylor about making that one-way?
And her main concern was, why aren't we widening the streets and overlaying it? And basically, I showed her the cost-to-house ratio.
Yeah.
I mean, it was done back in 2013, it was $220,000 then, so add 20% to that. I mean,
Well, I mean, there's a lot of streets in town that ought to get overlaid,
yeah, and that's why.
but, I thought we didn't really have the right-of-way up there to widen it.
No, and you'd have to take the people on the east side yard, I don't think they'll.
Yeah.
Versus the people on the west side.
Right.
When we get up to paving that area, we can look at it again,
Mm-hmm.
because eventually we're heading that way. So we'll look at what it would cost to widen it at the same time.
Okay.
Even widening it, when they did it back in 2013, it was only gonna add 3 feet each street, so.
But that's kind of why we're going a one-way, so the fire trucks, when they're parked there, even with an additional, I mean, it's 3 feet, but just to make.
All those signs so probably I'll wait till the first of February, and we'll just start at first.
3 feet through there would be a lot, but if it's gonna come out of people's front yards, they may not,
It's gonna come out of those front yards.
yeah,
They don't have much front yard,
right,
as it is, so,
okay.
all right.
That was my only thing.
Councilperson Fisher?
I'd just like to echo what Tony said about the, water department. It was insanely cold, and those guys did a great job, so, that's all I have.
Councilperson Pickrell?
I don't have anything.
Councilperson Mattson? Excellent. All right, Mr. Becker, we're moving into a closed meeting with our attorneys. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Can you read the notice?
Yes, if you can please read the notice, and Shelley, turn our camera off.
Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Crystal City, Missouri will duly vote during the regular meeting on Monday, January 23rd, 2023, to close a portion of said meeting pursuant to Missouri Revised Statutes, Section 610.021, Sub 1, for the purpose of discussing legal actions, causes of action, or litigation involving the city, and any confidential or privileged communications between the city and its representatives and attorneys. And Section 610.021, Sub 2, to discuss leasing, purchasing, or sale of real estate by the city where the public knowledge of the transaction might adversely affect the legal consideration therefore, and will conduct said closed meeting immediately following the regular council meeting in the City Council chambers at City Hall in Crystal City, Missouri.
Thank you. We'll let the room clear out and then... Oh, okay. Madam Clerk, has the notice of the close been posted, dated, and signed? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the notice of closed meeting.
I'll move to enter closed session.
All right, I'll poll the council. Or I have a motion and a second. I still gotta approve I'm gonna roll call to go into closed session. Okay. Councilperson Bradley?
Yes.
Councilperson Kemper?
Yes.
Councilperson Becker?
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher?
Yes.
Councilperson Piccarella?
Yes.
Councilperson Massa? Yes. All right. As soon as that goes, we are now in closed session. Brandon, I don't have to make an amendment. He's presenting, so I don't have to invite him in, right? For McKinney and McKenzie.
Brandon, can you, let me know who I need to make a motion to invite in?
Yes, so Mackenzie Ledet is here from
Harding.
Harding, and then John Jokas and Michael McMahon.
I'll move to, invite our guests to join our closed meeting.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed?
Nope.
All right.